If you don't already own it, you need to get it. It is so, so good. I recently got this cup from Daily Grace Co. I love their mugs. This one says, "The gospel is enough." So, so good. And I really like this one. They have a few different sayings on this type of mug, but I really like this because it holds the heat in. And so when I forget about my drink and I come back to it 30-45 minutes later, it's still nice and warm, which I really appreciate. And that's not to say that I don't nuke it in the microwave, because I certainly do sometimes, but I like that I can forget about my drink and then come back to it and it's still drinkable. I don't know if that ever happens to anyone else, but it certainly happens to me quite a bit. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump into this amazing resource. If you don't already own it, you need to get it. It is so, so good. Honey for a Child's Heart. It is one of my most favorite reading resources for kids. I'm sure you guys have heard of Sarah Mackenzie from the Read Aloud Revival podcast, and you may have even read her book, The Read Aloud Family. I also highly recommend that, but this is the Bible handbook of reading, in my opinion. It's absolutely wonderful. This is the most recent version. It's 2022, so I believe this is the 5th edition. And it's been updated and expanded to include newer titles, and also they have gone through the list from the previous edition and taken out some of them that you unfortunately just can't purchase anymore. There are some in the back that are listed where it will tell you that it's harder to find, but you might be able to find it at your local half-price bookstore, discount stores, or thrift books where it's used, and potentially even your library. But most of the titles that are in here are widely available in the United States, at least. So let's go ahead and dive into this book. So it's in 2 different parts. And the first part is all about using books to help children grow. And I love, if I can get to it and show you, I love, well, I love everything about this book, but I particularly love chapter 2, Milk and Honey. And I want to read just a little portion of that to you. This is the first chapter, or the first paragraph from the second chapter. Excuse me. Children have 2 basic needs, writes Eric Fromm in The Art of Loving. They need both milk and honey from their parents. Milk symbolizes the care given to physical needs. Brush your teeth, drink your orange juice, eat your vegetables, get enough sleep. Honey symbolizes the sweetness of life, that special quality that makes life sing with enjoyment for all it holds. Fromm says most parents are capable of giving milk, but only a minority of giving honey too. To give honey, one must love honey and have it to give. Good books are rich in honey, and hence the title of this book. So in here, in this book, you are going to find lots and lots of honey. You're going to add sweetness and richness into your home by reading the books that are contained in here. So let's go ahead and jump into part 2, which is the best loved books for children. And there are several chapters here, and I'll go ahead and just read a few of them off. And be sure to read the first part of the book before simply just jumping into the list, because there's something about knowing what to look for and really understanding the methodology and philosophy behind reading aloud to your children, and what the honey really is, what it consists of, before digging into it. So really recommend reading part 1 before diving into part 2. And in chapter 11, it's all about how to use the book list. So don't forget to read that as well. So in part 2, there's a child's first books from ages 0 to 3. And then you have picture book classics and more favorite picture books. And that's from ages 4 to 8. First books for beginning readers, and then you have children's classic novels, more intermediate readers, stories for animal lovers, historical novels, fantasy novels, young adult novels. Poetry is for pleasure and nourishing your children's spiritual life. That was such a great chapter for me to look into more living books to share our faith with our daughter, and also a book list for special occasions. So many great opportunities to expand your library for a whole age range here. So I have a lot of them tabbed, and I did want to share with you what this looks like here. So I'm gonna bring this up closer. Oh, I might have to hold it like this. Okay, so there will be what type of books they are. So the board books, and then it'll break it down by author, and there are several books listed. Some authors just have 1 or 2, others have quite a few that are listed. And then there's a key of all the different honors and medals and awards that books have won that are off to the side here. And it also has a kind of like a star diamond symbol that will let you know what title you should start with if you haven't ever read anything from that author before. So for example, I don't know if you saw this on it or not, but The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle, that has the little symbol there, the diamond. And so my goal is to collect all of these and have them for our home library. We read ferociously in this house. So I love this massive list of books, and I did want to share that there is a index of the authors and an index of the book titles as well. because originally when I was going through the book, I was checking them off as I went down the list in the different chapters. But then at the very back of the book, I was like, oh, I should probably just mark it off back here because it's all alphabetized. And it is not alphabetized within the chapters. Excuse me. It is alphabetized by the authors, but not the books. So just to keep that in mind, and it's separated by ages. So in our personal home library, I have all of our picture books alphabetized by the author's last name. And so since we have a wide age range of kids at our home, friendly reminder, we just have a 2-year-old, but I also nanny for 4 boys who I homeschool part-time. So and their ages are from 10 months up until almost 12 now. So we have the full gamut of ages that are over here. And I want to make sure that we have good books for each of those ages. There's just so many amazing books, and some that I hadn't necessarily heard of before, and I'm trying to find, and I do like how they include little portions of some books in here. They do let you know if it's harder to find a book, and I think it was just on this page here under where I showed you the picture. Okay, yeah, so Peter Spires Christmas. It's not in print at this time. Look for used editions or borrow from the library. I really appreciate that they have taken the time to go back and look and see if these books are available or not. I have been able to find a lot of these books on thriftbooks.com. Also, if you want new books, there's a lot on Book Outlet, and I'll share another video here where there are 10 books that I grabbed from Book Outlet that I was really shocked to get for such a low price, and they're hardback books. This is just a resource that you definitely want to have. Another suggestion that they have in here is there's like a little person, like their head and their shoulder figure symbol, where it'll share a little bit more about the author. So there are just some authors that are amazing and have an abundance of great literature out there, and one of them happens to be Will Moses. So there's that little symbol that I was talking about, and it says Will Moses has a number of books that retell classic stories with his rich illustrations. So those are some just little guides as you navigate the book that you want to pay attention to. You can't go wrong with Honey for a Child's Heart. It is a must-have in my opinion. So if you haven't already purchased this, if it's not in your library, go ahead and grab one. I have a few links down below. I found some varying prices. So if you want to purchase it, there are some different links, and save some money by getting the cheapest option, or support whatever store you like the most. So I hope you all have an amazing rest of the day, and let me know what books you get from Honey for a Child's Heart. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.